Ever wish you could, like, see the future? I mean, when it comes to health.
Like, what if we could know what factors really make a difference in our lives, from the very beginning?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, today's deep dive, we're about to explore something pretty close to a crystal ball.
Ooh, okay. I like this.
We're talking about the Generation R study, and let me tell you, it's massive.
It's huge.
This study has been going on for decades, tracking the lives of thousands of people.
It really is remarkable. We're talking almost 10,000 mothers, all from Rotterdam, enrolled way back in the early 2000s.
Wow. So their kids have basically grown up alongside this study.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking about height and weight here. Researchers have been following these kids' development in incredible detail. Everything.
Everything.
Well, yeah. I mean, from their brain function and heart health to, allergies, even down to how their faces develop.
Hold on. Facial development. Okay, you got to explain that one. I mean, how does that even fit in?
Well, that's what makes the Generation R study so unique. See, they didn't just look at the usual health factors in isolation. They wanted to see the bigger picture, how everything interacts. Genes, environment, lifestyle. They factored it all in.
So instead of just looking at individual pieces of the puzzle,
Yep.
they're trying to put it all together.
Exactly. It's like having this incredible map of human development, highlighting all these unexpected twists and turns along the way.
Okay, now that's what I'm talking about. Uncovering the connections, the stuff we might not even think about.
Precisely. And that's what makes their findings so valuable. They could unlock this deeper understanding of how those early influences, the ones we often overlook, how those play out over an entire lifetime.
Okay, so we've got this massive multi-generational study going on, but what I really want to know is, what kind of secrets have they uncovered?
Like, spill the tea. What have they found?
Well, get ready to have your mind blown because we're about to dive into some specific examples. Remember how I mentioned they were looking at fetal development in detail?
Yeah, with ultrasounds and everything, right?
Exactly. But here's the kicker. They weren't just, measuring the size of the fetus. They were tracking the growth trajectories of individual organs, like the heart and kidneys, before birth.
Wait, hold on. They could tell how quickly a baby's kidneys were growing while it was still in the womb.
You got it. And not just the growth, but also the function. For example, they were measuring fetal blood flow to see how much blood was reaching the brain at different stages of pregnancy.
Okay, so that makes sense. Blood carries all the good stuff, oxygen, nutrients, the things a developing brain needs. So what did they find?
All right, so this is where it gets really interesting. They discovered that even slight variations in blood flow during a specific week of gestation, we're talking about a critical window in the second trimester, those variations correlated with differences in language development when those children were 2 years old.
Wow, that's wild. I mean, you'd think something like language development would be more about what they're exposed to after they're born.
Right, exactly. But this study highlights how those early influences, even in the womb, can have this ripple effect on development down the line.
That is wild.
Right.
Okay, what else did they learn from all this data? Give me another one.
Well, they also looked at the home environment.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking about whether the house was clean or not.
Tell me they weren't judging these parents' housekeeping skills.
Thankfully, no. No, they were analyzing things like the availability of books and toys, the level of stimulation in the home, even, the emotional climate between parents. They wanted to understand how all these factors might be linked to cognitive development and academic achievement later in life.
So are you saying that a baby's future success in school could be influenced by, like, how much their parents read to them or how much they argue?
In a way, yes. They found that infants who grew up in homes with access to books and stimulating activities and where parents interacted with them in positive ways, those infants tended to perform better on cognitive tests as they got older.
Okay, that's interesting.
Now, it's crucial to note that correlation doesn't equal causation here.
Right, it's not like they can definitively say, if you don't have enough books in your house, your kid will fall behind in school.
Exactly. It's much more nuanced than that. But these findings, they do point to the powerful influence of that early environment, on shaping a child's brain development and learning potential.
This is also fascinating, but I have to ask, how on earth do they keep people coming back year after year? Like, life gets busy.
That's a great question, and it's one of the things that makes the Generation R study so remarkable. They have over 80% retention rate.
80%? Are you serious? How do they do that?
Right. It's almost unheard of in long-term studies.
Are they bribing people with Stroop waffles or something?
Well, I'm sure a few Stroopwafels don't hurt. But the real secret is making participants feel like valued partners in the research.
Okay, so it's more than just, hey, remember us, time for another blood test.
You got it. They send out regular newsletters, for one thing, to keep families updated on the study's progress and to share interesting findings in a way that's relevant to their lives. They've even been known to provide personalized feedback on certain results, if it's something participants might find helpful.
That's really clever. People are much more likely to stick with it if they feel like they're getting something out of it, too.
Exactly.
So it's about building a relationship, not just collecting data points.
Exactly. And sometimes it's the little things that make a difference. The paper mentioned they offer small gifts and discounts for participating families, just as a token of appreciation.
That's a great strategy. They've clearly cracked the code on long-term study engagement. But it makes you wonder, with all this incredible data, what's the takeaway for our listeners?
Yeah.
How does this actually impact our lives?
It's not just about the data itself, it's about what they're doing with it.
Okay, I was hoping you'd say that. Give me some examples. How are these findings actually being put into action?
Well, take the insights they've gained about maternal health during pregnancy. Remember how even slight variations in fetal blood flow correlated with language development?
Yeah, that was mind-blowing.
Right. Well, those findings, along with a ton of other data they've collected about the prenatal environment, are being used to shape prenatal care guidelines.
So it's not just about telling pregnant women to avoid alcohol and smoking anymore. They're getting even more specific about the factors that promote healthy fetal development.
You got it. Things like nutrition, stress management, exposure to certain environmental factors, they're all being viewed through a new lens, thanks to the Generation R study.
That's amazing. It's like they're writing the ultimate guidebook for giving children the best possible start in life. What else have they learned?
Well, remember those early measurements of growth trajectories? How they were tracking the growth of individual organs?
Yeah, it's like they had a crystal ball for predicting how big a baby's kidneys would be.
Right. Well, by combining that data with genetic information and environmental factors, they're actually getting much better at predicting a child's future growth patterns.
So instead of just relying on those standard growth charts, which, let's be honest, can be totally anxiety-inducing for parents,
Oh, I know, right?
now they're developing more personalized approaches.
Yeah. For example, they identified a specific gene variant that's associated with slower growth in early childhood. But what's fascinating is that they found children with this variant tend to catch up later on.
So parents can worry a little less, knowing that their child's slower growth might just be part of their unique genetic blueprint.
Exactly. But it also means doctors can monitor those children more closely and intervene earlier if needed. It's personalized medicine in action.
I love it. Okay, but this study isn't just about physical development, right? What about all that stuff in the home environment and how it impacts things like cognitive development?
That's a huge area of focus, and those findings are already being used to develop targeted interventions, especially for families in under-resourced communities.
So they're taking what they've learned about things like the importance of reading to your kids and creating a stimulating environment. And they're finding ways to help more families do those things.
Precisely. They're providing parents with tools and resources like books, educational toys, and guidance on how to interact with their children in ways that promote language development and cognitive skills.
It's like they're not just uncovering knowledge, they're translating it into real-world solutions. That's incredible.
And the most exciting part is that the Generation R study is still ongoing. These kids are now young adults, and the researchers are continuing to track their development. Just imagine the insights they'll gain about things like the long-term impacts of social media use, the factors that contribute to mental health and well-being in adulthood. The possibilities are endless.
It really makes you appreciate the power of long-term studies like this. They provide a window into human development that we just wouldn't have otherwise. And the best part is, it's a window that keeps revealing more and more with time.
Exactly. It's a legacy of knowledge that will continue to benefit generations to come.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the incredible complexity of human development.